Imagine living before numbers. No math class, no calculator, no price tags, no clocks, no pages, no scores, no dates, just people and things. A deer, a spear, a child, a fire. One becomes important fast. Two becomes useful too. Then comes a problem. What about many? What about more? What about enough? Early humans needed counting, not for algebra, for survival. How many animals escaped? How many berries remained? How many days had passed? How many people returned? How many tools were ready? Memory could help, but memory fails. So humans made marks. A scratch on wood, a notch on bone, a line on stone. One mark, one thing, another mark, another thing. This was simple counting, but it changed history. Some of the oldest clues are tally marks. Tiny cuts, repeated, intentional. They look primitive, but they are genius. A mark can remember. A mark can compare. A mark can prove. 5 marks mean 5, even without words. That matters. The famous Ishango bone shows this idea. So do other ancient objects. Bone became memory. Stone became memory. Wood became memory too. Counting began as a physical act. Touch, mark. Then humans noticed another tool. Fingers. Always available. Always portable. Almost impossible to lose. One hand gives 5. 2 hands give 10. That shaped everything. Many number systems grew from fingers. Base 10 feels normal to us. It may feel normal because of our bodies, but not every culture stopped there. Some counted knuckles. Some used toes too. 20 could feel natural. Body counting is ancient. It is visual. It is practical. It is universal. It is the beginning of abstraction. At first, numbers were not symbols. They were ideas. 1 fish, 2 stones, 3 children. The objects changed. The pattern stayed. That is the breakthrough. 3 sheep, 3 arrows, 3 days. Different things, same amount. Humans learned to separate quantity from object. That is huge. It sounds obvious now. It was not obvious then. It was revolutionary. Numbers were becoming invisible tools. Thought itself had upgraded. Then villages grew. Farming spread. Storage mattered. Trade mattered. Taxes mattered. Suddenly rough marks were not enough. People needed records. More grain. More sheep. More people. More debt. More precision. In ancient Mesopotamia, counting became administration. Temples stored goods. Cities tracked goods. Officials tracked labor. Merchants tracked exchange. Counting was now power, and power needs systems. Real systems. Before writing full numbers, people used tokens, little clay shapes. A cone might mean grain, another token might mean a sheep, another might mean oil. Each token carried information. One token, one quantity, several tokens, several quantities. This was bookkeeping before paper. It worked until it became annoying. Too many tokens, too many goods, too much confusion, so people pressed shapes into clay. A mark replaced a token. That is another leap. Symbols were taking over. In Sumer, writing and numbers grew together. Cuneiform marks filled clay tablets. Some marks meant words. Some marks meant amounts. Accountants loved this. Rulers loved this. Traders needed this. Math was becoming official. The city became countable. Numbers were no longer only scratches. They were part of civilization. Egypt built its own number system. So did others. The Egyptians used separate signs for different values. One sign for 1, another for 10, another for 100. Another for 1,000. Add enough signs together. You have a number. This works. But it gets bulky. Very bulky. Imagine writing huge totals this way. Possible, not elegant. Then came one of history's strangest systems. Babylonian numbers. The Babylonians used base 60, not base 10. 60. That sounds weird. It was brilliant. 60 has many divisors. Halves work well. Thirds work well. Fourths work well. Fifths work well. Fractions became easier. That system still echoes today. Why 60 minutes in an hour? Why 60 seconds in a minute? Babylon left fingerprints on time. Their place value idea mattered too. Position could change meaning. The same symbol placed differently meant something else. That is powerful, very powerful. Place value makes big numbers manageable. But one giant puzzle remained. What about nothing? What about an empty place? What if a value is missing? You need a gap. You need a marker. You need something for nothing. This is where 0 enters the story, and 0 is a superstar. Not at first, but eventually early systems struggled with 0. Some left spaces, some used context, some risked confusion. Babylon used placeholder marks later on. That helped, but 0 as a true number took longer. Ancient India changed everything. Indian mathematicians pushed the idea further. They used a symbol for 0, not just as empty space, as part of calculation, as part of the number system. That is massive. With 0, place value becomes much stronger. 10 becomes clear. 100 becomes clear. 1000 becomes clear. Empty places become visible. Now numbers can scale elegantly. Tiny numbers, huge numbers, easy to write, easy to compare, easier to calculate. This becomes the decimal place value system, the one we still use. Digits from 0 to 9, then position does the rest. It is simple, it is beautiful, it is unbelievably efficient, but it still had to travel. Ideas move with merchants. Ideas move with scholars. Ideas move with conquest. Ideas move with translation. From India, these numerals spread. The Islamic world carried them further. Mathematicians refined them. Scholars explained them. Traders benefited from them. Calculation became faster. Bookkeeping became easier. Astronomy became stronger. Science became sharper. Eventually, Europe noticed. Slowly, then seriously. Europe already had Roman numerals. IVXL, CDM, useful for monuments, awkward for arithmetic. Try multiplying with Roman numerals. Painful, try dividing. Worse, try bookkeeping at scale. No thanks. The newer numerals were simply better, more compact, more flexible, more mathematical. Merchants loved that. Bankers loved that. Scientists loved that. Teachers eventually loved that. Not everyone switched immediately. Old habits resist, so do old systems, but efficiency wins. It usually does. Numbers had evolved again, then mathematics exploded, algebra grew, geometry deepened, navigation improved, engineering advanced, commerce expanded, accounting sharpened, calendars improved, clocks improved, maps improved, all because numbers became powerful tools. But remember the beginning. It started with quantity, 1 animal, 2 hands, 3 stones, then marks, then tokens, then symbols, then systems. Numbers were not invented in one day, not by one person, not in one place. They evolved, step by step, problem by problem, need by need. Survival pushed them, trade pushed them, government pushed them, curiosity pushed them, science pushed them, human brains pushed them. That is why numbers matter. They are everywhere, on doors, on money, on books, on phones, in space missions, in recipes, in music, in code, in medicine, in games, in architecture, in every classroom, in every market, in every age. Once humans counted with scratches. Now we model the universe. That is the real story. Numbers did not just describe the world, they changed how humans think. From tallies on bone to equations on screens, from survival to science. That is how numbers were invented and reinvented forever, again and again.